أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين فمن ابتغى وراء ذلك فأولئك هم العادون والذين هم لأماناتهم وعهدهم راعون والذين هم على صلواتهم يحافظون أولئك هم الوارثون الذين يرثون الفردوس هم فيها خالدون. صدق الله العظيم. These are the beginning ayahs of Surah Al-Mu'minoon, which is the beginning of the 18th juz of Al-Quran Al-Kareem. This surah, Surah Al-Mu'minoon, was revealed before Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's immigration to Medina Munawwarah. And by looking at the message and the subject of the surah, it seems like it was revealed somewhere halfway in the Meccan period, not at the very beginning and not towards the very end, somewhere halfway in between that. In this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given us some beautiful comparison, or I should say values to compare between Iman and Kufr. We may even say that in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the measurements by which we can measure the good and bad. In this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have corrected the misunderstanding a lot of time people would have about good and bad and how to judge what is good and what is bad. The beginning of the surah starts with a word. This word we can say is a scale of measuring a lot of things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says at the beginning of the surah, in fact, let's look at the meaning of the few ayahs here. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Indeed, successful are those believers الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ, who are humble in their salah, who have khushu' in their salah. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ, and who avoid loose talk. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ, who are punctual in paying the zakah. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ, and who guard their private parts. إِلَّا عَلَى أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ, except from their wives and from those who are in their possession, slaves. فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ, for in that case they will not be blamed. And then there are a few more description of these people about whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. These believers are successful. First thing, let's look at the word falah. Aflaha is driven from the word falah. And we hear this word again and again in the adhan, Hayya ala al-falah, which means success. What does success mean? We have a list of things in our mind that if I get these things, I would be a very successful person. And every person sets his own list that he would like to achieve, that by achieving these things, I would become a very successful person. There are people who look to get $100. If I get $100, I will be very successful. There is another person who feels that if he gets $1,000, then he will be doing great. Then he got everything. There is a third person sitting next to him. He feels no million is something that I need. And really, if you go through the saf of the salah, when we sit in the salah and start looking at people's desires of what success means, you will see all of these different categories sitting in that saf. Someone feels if I get married, that is success and I got everything. For someone, if he passes his exam, then I'm very successful if I pass this exam. So we have our own criteria of being successful. But at the same time, we all see and realize that our criteria of success is very limited and it disappears very fast. Because my criteria was $1,000, I got it, and after some time those $1,000 are gone, and I even forgot that I got $1,000 and I made so much dua to get it. The person forgets everything about it. And if a person gets this and then all of a sudden something else comes in his way, that okay, if I get this now, I need this. So the real success would be at a time when a person will get the type of wealth that will not be taken away from him, will get the type of health after which he will never get sick, will get the type of blessings that he would never ever lose after that, will get the type of life after which there is no death. Otherwise, a person got his wealth, but he could die at any time. He's going to lose his wealth. And the amazing thing with the wealth is, with all the difficulties of acquiring it, it won't help you until you start losing it. Wealth doesn't help you until you start losing it, because you have to spend it in order for it to help you. You want to buy a nice car, so spend $20,000, $30,000 out of your wealth and you get a nice car. So it won't help you until you give it out. As far as our health is concerned, there is no guarantee whatsoever of when and at what time the person would lose his health. And especially in the present day situation, we see even young people are having headaches, pain all over their bodies, and every person has taken so many tablets, so much medicine in his life, that I think in the past people throughout their life, the sick people throughout their life may not be taking these many medicines as much as the healthy person is taking these days. And even if a person would have real good health, no disease, nothing in his life, never got sick, wealth that is always increasing, but there is always a fear of losing it because he would die at any time. So the real falah will be when the person would go to Jannah. Because that wealth will always be increasing and you won't have to spend it in order to get anything out of it. Just having it will be a blessing and it will only be increasing. And whatever you give, there is more on that place that a person would get for whatever he's using. A person takes one fruit and there are 10 more up there for him to take from them. So there is no loss over there. And it's such a health after which the person would never be sick. That's it. They won't even know what sickness means. And a type of life after which there is no death. That is the real falah. Sometimes people don't worry about death. Whether we worry or not is going to happen anyway, but people don't worry. And they have health, they have good health, and they have wealth. Can we say this person has falah? Of course. We see the problem with all of these things. A person would be losing it any time. The problem of taking care of it, of increasing his wealth, of investing his wealth, making sure that he's protecting it from losing it. With all of these things, we have one more problem in addition to that, and that is, can we buy peace of mind through any of these things? People have all of this and they have no peace of mind. In Jannah, everyone will be totally satisfied. This is the beauty of the blessings of Jannah. Total satisfaction, where a person would have full peace of mind, and such a peace of mind after which he would never lose that peace of mind. Everyone has the peace of mind over there. So that is the real falah. That is the real success. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is inviting us towards the real success. In the old days, people used to work, and the purpose behind it was, you work for some hours during the day so that you enjoy the rest of the day, you have a good time, and you take care of your family, you sit with your family. Nowadays, if we look at our situation, that we are so busy with earning that we have no time for anything, even for ourselves. And all of the time is being spent just earning, nothing else. Why the person is working so hard to earn? Because our understanding is, if I keep on working this way and I keep on earning the way I'm earning, then I will have a lot of success by having this money, and I can spend it the way I want. I can spend it on myself, my family. I'll buy things that I need. So a person is looking for a certain type of success that he has set a criteria in his mind that this is success, and I can achieve it only if I keep on working day and night. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that if you really are looking for success, then compare the two lives, the life of this dunya and the life of akhirah. And you would realize that it's really worth it to work hard at this time, because you're just like having a daytime, going to job. Right now we all are at job. And tomorrow is the time for us to be paid, as soon as the person is placed in his grave. That's the time when we all are going to get paid for whatever we have done, good or bad. So if a person works a little bit over here, then he will have eternal success over there, such a success after which there is no fear of losing anything. This is what falah means. That all believers work so hard in this dunya that you make your akhirah, so that you will have the success that you really all deserve. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not keeping us away from blessings. Sometimes people feel that becoming a virtuous person means you don't enjoy your life. No one is going to enjoy more than the virtuous people, because the real enjoyment is in Jannah. And the type of enjoyment people will have in Jannah, we cannot even think about it. We cannot even have any clue about what things will exist over there for our enjoyment. Nowadays we buy a ticket $30 to enjoy something a little bit for half an hour, for an hour, and the person feels that I really enjoyed it. Spend a couple of $1,000 during holidays, I really enjoyed my trip. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is inviting us towards enjoyment that will last forever. People feel deen is keeping us away from enjoying our souls and our lives. But in reality, Deen is inviting us towards the type of enjoyment that will last forever. This is why Quran again and again reminds us of the blessings that we will be getting in Jannah. You see the advertisements that if you come here, you will get this. You get a ticket and you get 5 days hotel and you get this and this and these. All of those enjoyments with the advertisement that you will have a good life. You will have fun for 5 days. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us work a little bit in this dunya and then this is what you would have. All the blessings of the Jannah that are mentioned in the Quran, this is the purpose behind it, that see this is the real enjoyment. So Deen is not keeping us away from that. In fact, is inviting us towards the real enjoyment. And that is when a person would work a little bit over here, earn something so that when you go over there, you can spend your money and then enjoy your life. That's in Akhirah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is inviting us towards that type of life that is called life of falah, life of success. This was so that we understand what does falah means. Now here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning some description of the people of Iman who will have falah. Which means not every person who claims Iman will have that falah right away. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that if you really would like to have the falah, you have to like to have a successful life, then you have to be a type of mu'min with these qualities. الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ, and the rest of them that are coming in these ayahs. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, a person who would adopt these qualities that are mentioned in these ayahs of Surah Al-Muminoon, he is guaranteed the Jannah. These are such qualities that are loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If a person would adopt these qualities, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, most certainly this person will go to Jannah. Before going into the details of these ayahs and these qualities, it will also be nice for us to understand the background of this ayah. As I mentioned earlier, this surah was revealed somewhere in the middle age of the Meccan life. Quickly, try to remind yourself of what was the situation of the Muslims in Mecca. And I'm sure we all at least have some picture of that in our mind, where Bilal, Suhaib, Ammar, Sumayya, and many others, Khabbab, Khubayb radiallahu anhu ajma'een, are being dragged on the streets of Makkah Mukarramah. They are being tortured. Anyone that becomes Muslim, he has to hide away. If a person does not have good protection from his family side, he will be tortured so badly that in many cases people lost their lives. If a person is a businessman and he becomes Muslim, they will boycott that person and no one is going to go to his store, no one is going to buy anything from him, and this person will go bankrupt. He has to close his store. This is the situation of the people in Makkah Mukarramah, of the Muslims in Makkah Mukarramah. Under that situation, generally when we would start looking at it, none of us would ever think that we can use the word falah for this group of people, that this group could ever be successful. Because we have a different measurements in our mind, different values by which we measure the good and bad. According to us, if you are able to get admission into the universities and then get the higher degrees, and then you get into the field, into the life, and then get a job in the highest field and make a lot of money and live in the special type of areas, and all of this, once you get all of this, then really, yes, you're doing something with your life. This is These are the values that we have set in our minds. Now, looking at the situation of Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, everyone feels, when people are looking at them in Makkah Mukarramah, everyone feels that becoming Muslim is just losing everything. If you become Muslim, you would lose everything. You would lose your wealth. You would lose your own family. You lose your own home. You will be tortured. You will be punished. You will be hiding away from everyone. It's total loss. And under that situation, these ayahs are being revealed that the true successful people are those الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ, who are humble in their prayers. Not those who have all of that money. Not those who have a good business, successful business running there. Not those who are able to spend the time with their families freely and no one disturbs them. These people who are hiding away from everyone. These people who are thrown out of their own homes. These people who lost their business, their job, their home, their family, their wife, their children, their husband. These people are the true successful people. A criteria which is totally different than ours. And unfortunately, even after having this ayah in Quran al-Kareem, this surah in Quran, and reading this surah over and over, still we have not changed the values in our mind. We are still using the old measurements of the Jahiliyyah. We are holding to the same old scale of the days of Jahiliyyah. And then accordingly, because this is the old scale, this scale is not made for gold. This scale was made only for metal, for iron. This scale was made for weighing the trucks, and you're trying to weigh gold on it. So of course, you don't get the right understanding of what the value of this gold is. If a person would get the right scale that is used for gold, and then he is going to put gold in it, then only he will be able to know the measurement of this gold. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that these are all the scales of the days of Jahiliyyah, where people used to compare these worldly things with akhirah. And if they see that anyone is losing this worldly gain, they're losing their business, they're losing other benefits, worldly benefits, then those people are really losers. And they need to give up everything else in order for them to protect these benefits. And really the word benefit is used a lot these days. That if you have a job, what are your benefits? And with the time that I lose this job or I get laid off, what will be my benefits? So in everything, people are looking for those benefits. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us what are the real benefits. What are the benefits that we should be looking for? قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Surely those believers are successful. الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ, who are humble in their prayers. So the first lesson here at the beginning of the surah is, number one, we need to correct our understanding about falah, about success. Whatever understanding we have about success is wrong. If we feel that by earning this much I will be successful, that's wrong, because a person is going to lose it very soon. Whatever criteria we set other than achieving the eternal blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all of those will be false. Because anything that comes temporarily and goes away after some time is not really a success. Because there is always fear of losing it. When there is fear of losing it, there is no sense of having it or considering it the greatest thing in our life that will bring us all the success. Simply means one day I will not be successful. If really my criteria of success is $10 million in this world, in this life, that simply means the day I would die, I will be a loser. because I won't take the 10 million with me. If my criteria of success is nice house, then the day I'm going to die, I will be a loser because I won't take that house with me. Here we can see a clear difference between the normal understanding of success and the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning in the Quran. This is the real one, that we take the thing that will benefit us in Akhirah. Even the time when we leave this world, these things will go with us. But the question that sometimes comes in our mind, that if we do that, this simply means that in this world then I won't be earning enough. And I won't really get what I'm looking for. Two things here that we need to remember about this. Number one, Islam never stops us from earning. As long as we use the halal method of earning, we don't neglect the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't go against the rule of the Sharia, Islam does not put any limit on how much the person can earn. You can be the millionaire, you can be the richest person in the world, and still be a person that is very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have beautiful examples of Uthman radiyallahu anhu, and of Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiyallahu anhu, and many other Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. But then the question again comes that when we look at the history of Islam, starting from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, including Sahaba, Tabi'een, we'll find that majority of those people, they were not really, from our perspective, from the worldly point of view, we may call it, very well-to-do. Which means they were not earning a lot. There are days when they don't get anything to eat. So they are really having a difficult life. Again, it's only the understanding of the people. It's our understanding of what is peace of mind, what is success, and what thing will make me a good person and what thing will take me out of that list. For Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, and not only limited to that, even up to this day, for people who are connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when they perform 2 rak'ah salah, these 2 rak'ah salah are so dear to them that if you offer this person $1 million instead of 2 rak'ah salah, and it may not be fard of course, it's only nafil salah, he will not be willing to give up those 2 rak'ah salah for $1 million. Because the peace of mind he gets in his salah, the connection he feels with Rabbul Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala in his salah is such that he feels that there is nothing in this world that can pay for that. And now we see that on one hand there is a person who feels that even $1,000 are a lot, and if I get that, I'm willing to give up, miss 3 prayers in a day. For another person, you give him $1 million, he won't give up even 2 rak'ah nafil prayers. It's a difference of understanding. For this person, his peace of mind, everything that he wants is in his salah, in his ibadah, in that one sajdah. When he puts his head down and he says, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, he feels that he got all the treasures of this world. It's the difference of our understanding. A child, you give him a checkbook, and you tell the child, try to convince the child that, look, this is the checkbook. In my account, I have a couple of $1 million. You keep the checkbook. They are all signed. You take as much money as you want whenever you want. Just give me the small car that you have that you play with. He will not be willing to exchange that. No, I won't give you my car. You keep your checkbook. You keep your account. You keep your millions. But this car, I'm not giving it to you. The car that may not worth even 50 cents. but it's so dear to him, no, I won't give you this car. Not even for that checkbook. And let everyone in the family explain to this child, and he will know, not for this car. I won't trade anything for this car. And especially when he looks at this checkbook, it's only pieces of paper to him. This book, I don't even like this book. It's the value that we have in our mind. That's the whole thing behind it. For some of us, this book means a lot. For some of us, sujood means more than that. So it all depends on our understanding. So people who are, from the worldly point of view, we see them that they don't have a lot. It's not necessary that these people are not happy with their life and they're really struggling and they're going through hardships. No. If they are really content with whatever they have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them, and they are satisfied with it, and they are connected to their ibadah, they feel that they have the greatest treasures of the world. And they really feel that no one has anything similar to what they have. So, and that is the real ni'mah. If there is a person who has $5 million and is expecting to make 5 million more, and there is another person who has a couple of $1,000 and is satisfied with those couple of $1,000, of course, this person is much better than the one who has 5 million, because the one who has 5 million, he is still struggling to get 5 million now, because that's his goal, that I have 5 million at this time, but I need 5 million more. And the other person has only a couple of thousand, and he's not looking to have any more. So this person is really rich because he feels that he has enough, and the other person is very poor because he needs $5 million, regardless of how much he has. So it's our own understanding. With this now, if we start looking at the ayah, and at these qualities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning of the believers, we would understand why these qualities are mentioned. These qualities are mentioned so that once we adopt these qualities, we would realize that these are the greatest things to have in this world. Once we have these qualities mentioned in these ayahs, no one in this world has anything better than I do. I got the greatest treasure of the world if I have these qualities. Now we can understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us by mentioning these qualities of the believers. And the first thing that is mentioned here is الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. Those believers who are humble in their prayers. What does humbleness in prayer mean? Khushu' literally means for a person to be very humble, and at the same time a type of humbleness where this person is not moving too much. So, as we may call it sukoon, no movement. Two things are involved there. Number one, the person is not considering himself to be something. He is very humble. And number two, this person is very quiet. He is not running here and there. He is quiet. He is not moving too much. There is a lot of humbleness there in both sense, that he is very humble personally, and then he is very quiet. Both of these things are needed in salah. Number one, that we humble ourselves before Rabbul Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why the best position of salah is sujood. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, أَقْرَبُ مَا يَكُونُ الْعَبْدُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ وَهُوَ سَاجِدٌ. When the person is in sujood, that's the position when he's closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number two, not to have too much movement during salah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saw a sahabi who was playing with something during salah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لَوْ خَشَعَ قَلْبُ هَذَا لَخَشَعَتْ جَوَارِحُهُ. If his heart had khushu' in salah, humbleness in salah, then his physical body would also be humble. But because there is no khushu' in his heart, this is why you see him continuously involved in some action during salah. Most of us, throughout the course of the day, we don't feel anything until we start the salah, and then we realize that, oh, it's itching here on my head, and my clothes are not proper, I need to keep them straight. All of these things start coming up only during salah. And really, for some people you see it, as soon as the person starts the salah, now he's itching right and left. And throughout salah, this is all this person is doing. As soon as the salah is over, he forgets about all of that. Now you don't see him doing the same thing. This is against the khushu' of salah. Khushu' in salah is when a person does not move at all. Initially, it will be a struggle for us, and we may even sometime perform some nafil prayers with this in our mind that I'm going to do 2 rak'ah salah, and in these 2 rak'ah salah I will not move my hand at all. I will just keep my hands in the position where they are supposed to be, regardless of what it would happen. Initially it will be difficult, gradually we will get used to it. Everything in this life comes with practice. When people practice things, and gradually then it becomes part of their life. And this is something that we really have to practice it too. That's one point about humbleness and bringing the humbleness in salah, that not to move. Movement now not necessarily will be only with hands. Sometimes the whole body keeps on moving. Roman radiallahu anha, the mother of Aisha radiallahu anha, says that one day I was doing salah and I was moving during salah. Sometimes we move a lot right and left. And if it is a little bit because of tiredness, it's different. But just a habit of keep on moving throughout the salah is not a good habit. So she says, I was doing the salah and I was continuously moving. And I didn't realize that I was doing that. Her husband, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, when he saw that, she says he was so upset. And we know the humbleness of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, how quiet he is, how humble he is. But he was so upset, she said, he started shouting at me while I was in salah that I was about to break my salah. I was so scared that I was about to break my salah. And then he said to me, since when you started doing the salah of Yahud? You have seen them. So, any type of movement that is not part of salah is against the salah and is against the humbleness of salah. Not only this, even the movement of our face and our eyes. Unnecessarily a person is looking here and there, just trying to watch people, trying to see who's coming in and who's going out. That's the only time then we worry about it in salah. Then I would like to know who came into the masjid, who's going out. After salah you talk to someone, you don't even care who comes and who goes. So all of these things are against the humbleness of salah. This is of course the physical body. And as Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us in the hadith, that if our heart will have that humbleness, then the body will also follow that. Which means the real humbleness is in the heart. The person should get his heart attached to the salah. And this is a fact of our life, that when our heart is attached to something, then it just pays attention to that. And then the whole body just reacts to that and goes with that. And if our heart is not attached to something, then the person is just going here and there. You have an important appointment and you have to run out. All of a sudden someone grabs you and he starts talking to you. You're talking to the person, but you're continuously looking at your watch. you need to run out. You have that appointment. And that's in your mind. So you are not able to pay attention to this, what this person is saying to you. You are saying yes, you are saying no, and at the end it may even be that you really didn't know what you said to this person. Because heart was attached to something else. If heart is attached to salah during salah, then a person would only be concentrating on his salah. But if the heart is attached to other things during salah, then this person will not be able to pay attention to his salah. In the beginning days of Islam, when drinking alcohol was allowed, and the ayah was revealed, telling the believers at that time, لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى. Don't come close to the prayers while you are intoxicated. Why? حتى تعلموا ما تقولون. Until you know what you are saying. So you should know what you are saying when you are in salah. That ayah, a lot of people feel that it's abrogated, it's done, the period of that time, of that order is over now. But in reality, that order is still there. Yes, drinking now is totally forbidden. But we see the general idea of the ayah is that when you come to salah, you should not be having anything that is intoxicating and that will keep you away from your salah. Today, we may not drink alcohol, and may Allah protect all of us from it. But the person have drank so much of this dunya that he comes to salah and he's intoxicated. حَتَّى تَعْلَمُوا مَا تَقُولُونَ. Until you know what you're saying, and he doesn't know what he's saying. Why? He was thinking about his job, about his work, running out quickly. Imam is taking too long. Salah is getting delayed. And all of these things are just going through our mind because our mind is attached somewhere else. We are intoxicated not with alcohol, with other things. حَتَّى تَعْلَمُوا مَا تَقُولُونَ. Until you know what you're saying. And we don't know what we are saying in salah. So attachment of the heart has to be there. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ma'un, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُ الْيَتِيمِ وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. Woe to those who offer their prayers. Is it true? To those who offer their prayers or to those who don't offer the prayers? Al-Musallin. Woe to those who offer their prayers. الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. Who are neglectful of their salah. They are doing the salah, but they are not paying any attention to their salah. The person is doing the salah, but he's not paying any attention to his salah. This is musallin. He's a musalli. We say, mashallah, this person is haji. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says he's a musalli, greater than haji. But الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. When they're offering the salah, they're totally neglectful of their salah. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're saying. They don't know why they're going up and down. It's only that they would like to fulfill these physical actions quickly and run out. These are musallin. So, our heart has to be attached to the salah. And concentration has to be there in salah, that the least, it is not necessary that we understand the translation of every ayah that we recite. And the translation of every dua that we recite. But the least is, I'm standing before Rabbil Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. I have given this time to my Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'm going to devote my heart, my mind, my brain, my thoughts, everything to Rabbil Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything has to be given then. This is how our khushu' in salah will stand. Inshallah, we will talk in more detail about khushu' and the method of obtaining khushu' and salah in our next sessions. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.